At a time of shrinkflation, where companies keep the price the same but reduce the amount of the product, here in the country, more measures come up in response. Our business correspondent Shin Ha-young is here in the studio with this topic. Good evening, Ha-young.
Great to be here, Jung-min.
Sometimes I notice this difference and sometimes I do not. So what are some examples of shrinkflation that we notice in our daily lives these days?
All right, Jung-min. So when it comes to adjusting the size or quality rather than the price of products, sometimes it could be more challenging for consumers to actually see a significant difference. And as you mentioned, shrinkflation refers to a phenomenon where manufacturers reduce the quantity while keeping everything else, including price and package design, the same. And this happens a lot, especially in the food sector. For example, a South Korean brewery reduced the volume per can in a beer bundle pack from 375 millimeters to 370. And frozen corn dogs, which used to be 5 in a pack, are now just 4. And cuts in quantity can be also found in items like frozen dumplings, canned tuna, and chips. And there's another term called skimpflation, where companies keep the prices but cut back on the quality of products or services. And as an example, one leading orange juice brand reduced its actual real juice content from 100% to 80%, but left the quality the same. And lately, there's a new term for a practice of selling bundled items more expensively than individual items called bondelflation.
Leaving the quantity the same. Then Ha-young, shrinkflation and skimpflation aren't something new. I wonder what has brought these phenomena to the public attention these days and how are consumers reacting?
Well, the government has been making efforts to curb food inflation, food prices by managing prices for individual items. And as a result, domestic food companies withdrew proposed price increases on their products. And some experts believe that such pressure appears to have backfired, leading manufacturers to seek indirect methods of raising prices such as shrinkflation and skimpflation amid high inflation. And meanwhile, even though there is a labeling system called unit pricing, which helps consumers compare prices using a standard unit of measurement, it is still difficult for them to remember the price of each item. Now, let's take a listen to what consumers had to say.
I haven't noticed a decrease in the quantity of products, but instead I've realized that the quality of products has been reduced.
When it comes to ice cream, I'm a bit disappointed because the quantity seems much less compared to before. I'd rather pay a little more and enjoy the original amount I used to get.
This to me sounds a little bit sneaky, that not to tell the customers or still keep the same packaging but reduce the amount in there. That's not really very fair to the customers like me who don't normally pay attention to the amount. Yeah, so I think we'll be shopping around a little bit more and paying more attention now.
Then how is the authorities responding to this, to address this issue? Have any significant measures been taken yet?
Well, Jung-min, the government started an investigation into this issue at the end of last month, and in order to protect people's rights. And authorities are examining 209 processed foods and 73 other daily items for potential instances of shrinkflation, with the results expected to be announced this month. And it has decided to operate a center to receive consumers' reports to address skimpflation as well.
We'll seek to sign an agreement with companies that calls for them to give voluntary notice about smaller volume and encourage them to avoid hidden price hikes.
The Bank of Korea recently mentioned that a slowdown in domestic inflation may be further delayed due to shrinkflation. And in fact, prices for items that the government is checking for shrinkflation have turned out to be rising faster than the overall inflation rate. According to Statistics Korea, overall consumer prices rose by 3.3% on year last month. But for processed foods, a key player in shrinkflation, prices rose by over 5%. And one expert says it is the government's role to help consumers become aware of these kind of changes.
The government can't stop companies from engaging in shrinkflation. What's more important is making policies that can inform consumers when there's change so they can acknowledge it and decide if they still want to buy. Putting stickers on products that have been reduced in terms of either amount or quality is one way to do that.
Shrinkflation is also a concern in other countries as well. So in response, one French supermarket chain puts stickers right next to products to inform consumers about shrinkflation, while in Brazil, companies are required to show any changes in product quantity on the package for at least 6 months. And as Seoul's Finance Minister Chu Kyung-ho said, the government will propose regulations on this matter during this month. I'll bring more updates when the measures are announced.
All right, thanks for filling us in today, Ha-young.
Always my pleasure.